Let's talk about tests, quizzes, exams, assessments, whatever you call them. Students are going to freak out about them because tests are scary. Test anxiety is a real thing and a real problem. Some students panic at the sight of an exam paper. We've all done it. Gone into an exam we had to cram for and then losing every piece of knowledge we had on the topic. I once completely blanked on a geometry proof test. Completely! I earned 0 points on that quiz, and when we reviewed it, I knew all of the proofs, but I couldn't come up with them in the testing environment. The fallout from traumatic testing experiences is another concern. I once had a student come to me during an in-person test to confirm that it was okay that they'd crossed out their first answer and put in a new one. They were worried they'd lose points because they'd crossed something out. When I transitioned to teaching fully online, I learned that traditional tests were just not working. I couldn't prevent students from searching online, nor could I prevent them from working together to complete it. So I made both of these the key to a new kind of assessment, one that encourages collaboration and external research rather than memorization. I still assess their work. There are 3 quizzes each semester and a final exam. I have them create lists of terms from the main term list that I build throughout the semester. They decide the focus of their quiz lists. Students decide on a central term from the main list or a general theme. Then they select terms from the main term list that would fit on a smaller, more focused list. They have a minimum number of terms and a set section of the main term list to build from. The quiz is in 2 parts and takes a week. The first part is submitted as a draft the night before quiz week begins. I look for 2 things in part 1. That the theme or central term is clearly stated, and that they have the required minimum number of terms. Then I sort them into discussion threads for quiz week. They're put into threads based on theme. In the first quiz, they should end up in a group with pretty similar themes. By the 3rd quiz, there are threads where the only connection is that their list didn't fit on any of the other threads. But by then, they should have figured out how the threads work and be able to complete this portion without too much issue. During quiz week, students discuss their lists. On Monday, they post their draft list to their assigned thread. They're expected to ask a question of each posted list and reply to all comments on their list by Friday. On Saturday, they submit their finalized list. They can make any changes they like between Monday and Saturday. This means they can choose to make no changes, or they can choose to make changes based on the information their classmates brought up during quiz week. That final list is submitted to the LMS. They have to include definitions for each term on their list and an explanation for why that term is on their list. In later quizzes, they'll need to explain how the discussion led them to add, change, or keep a term. They also need to identify terms that look like they might fit, but they chose not to include them. They need to define those terms and explain why they chose to leave them off the final list. Here's why it works. I am not teaching them details and expecting them to memorize and then regurgitate them. Google knows the dates, location, and important events of the Battle of Shiloh. I want to know if that student can tell me why it's important to know those things. I also want that student to figure out what else connects to the Battle of Shiloh. They could connect it to the Battle of Gettysburg, another American Civil War battle. Or they might connect it to the Battle of the Cowpens, an American Revolutionary War battle. They could even connect it to the Battle of Ebro, a Spanish Civil War battle. By the way, All of these battles are bloody turning points in their war, shifting the tide in favor of the eventual winner. I can make that connection, but it takes understanding what makes those battles significant and then figuring out if there's something similar. I need to see that students can find those similarities and then, this is the important bit, explain it and defend those choices. Because again, I am not teaching them content. I'm teaching them how to build arguments and defend them, and how to change their mind if they are presented with new conflicting information. Since I am teaching skills rather than data points, it's very hard to cheat. Every person is different, so every person will have different themes and reasons for including terms. And I change up my lectures every semester, so there are different terms on the lists. If someone gets a list from a prior student, it's not going to work because they'll have ineligible terms or be missing terms from the current main list. Again, I'm not teaching them when the Battle of Ebro happened or where the Battle of the Cowpens was. I'm teaching them how to figure out why those two things might be related. Information assessment is much more valuable in our digital knowledge economy than information regurgitation. A student might come away from my class knowing all about the Battle of Shiloh and always remember it. But that depends on what they're interested in and what they are willing to work to learn. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and check out my Patreon to support more work like this. I'll see you in the next one.